everyone, and welcome back to the X-Ring. I apologize for the lighting, but it's the end of the day. I was actually trying to do a review on the new the Varmint R500, one of the fastest crossbows in the world, and unfortunately I couldn't find a bag to stop the bolts. So I went to the local mom and pop store, walked in, and lo and behold, they had a brand new CZ 457 MTR on the shelf. I was able to get out of there for about $780, and while this is not a Voodoo or a Remex, I've often told people many times that if you're wanting to get into PRS rimfire or NRL 22 or 22X, a good place to start would be a CZ platform. You can get in there for under $1,000, still have another $250 left over for your base, your rings. Not going to get an optic, of course. And if you're looking to shoot production division, I think it's one of the best ones to be able to shoot production division. You'll just have to be selective on what optic you choose. Now, this rifle is all of about 30 minutes old. I literally picked it up, came home, threw the Area 419 30 minute of angle base on here. I've got the Zeiss LRP S5 as well as the Zeiss rings, and I just zeroed it. I'm shooting Lapua Center X. I didn't go through any other types of ammunition. Like I said, just trying to get it on paper and get this video out to you guys. I know a lot of you guys love rimfire content. I love rimfires, but the work on this, the stippling on the wood, is just absolutely beautiful. Now, the only thing you're going to be lacking to be able to shoot one of these at a PRS or NRL rimfire match is you're not going to have an Arca Swiss rail. That's something you can add. It's not something that you have to have, but if you're wanting to attach, let's say, a Gray Ops plate or Air 419 plate, you're going to need some way to attach that, or if even you're going to shoot it off of a bipod, unless you're just going to use your Game Changer. So that's the only thing. The other thing, and I did notice it when I was zeroing it, you're going to be limited on your cheek riser. You're going to have to build this up, because typically I like it where when I'm on the cheekbone, it's solid, and right now I have to go up about that much before I can see through my optic. And even using lower rings, I'm going to be hard pressed to do that because of that riser from Area 419. So those are some things you're going to have to keep in mind. I will also tell you that the trigger's a little heavy compared to what I'm used to, but if you change that trigger out, remember you're no longer going to be in production division. So I'm trying to get this out before it gets dark out here. So I've got a target set up at 50 yards. I'm going to shoot some 5-shot groups at 50 as well as 100. Remember, this is brand new right out of the box. I've got about 15 rounds through it so far, and so far it looks pretty promising, but let's go ahead and see how she does at 50 yards. Once again, apologize for the lighting, but I am using Lapua Center X, and we'll see how this lot does. I'm also using the 10-round mags with the extension on here from AOD, and it comes with a little 5-round mag with a metal base plate, but that's not going to work for anything you want it to do. So let's go ahead and start printing some groups down range. Let's see how it does. You know, talking to Kenny over at Desert Precision Gun Works, you guys know that he builds most of my precision rifles. He did say that the CZ MTRs are extremely promising, but he did say there is definitely a cold bore shift when shooting it. So I had just zeroed this in, and I haven't done anything else. I'm going to just go ahead and start on the top left target, and we're going to shoot 5-shot groups. We'll do 4 of them since I have 20 rounds here, and we'll see how it does. I'll make no corrections. I'll just keep holding center for the point of impact, and that'll be my aimer. So here we go. All right. So we're going to go top left. It is actually the S target. Top left on the 100 yard bench rest, but we are at 50 yards. And here we go. Okay, so the first shot was a little bit high, and I also didn't work the bolt hard enough, so I had one stuck in there, but that's something you need to be aware of. And I had to break my spot weld, but that's okay. Okay, so not bad. That first shot was just a hair high, but not much. We're going to go on to target 1. Yeah, I think we're out. I might have shorted that magazine, but let's get back on it. Yeah, she's a shooter. All right, we're gonna go to target 2. All right, so I might have pulled that one, but either way, man, we got 4 in the same hole. Let me make sure I have 5 more rounds to finish this last group up, and I think that would be a good representation to show you guys what you might be able to expect out of one of these. So far, pretty darn impressed with this right out of the box. And guys, the only thing I did on this was take Vortec rimfire cleaner. I did punch it out before I shot it and zeroed it, but I think we're 45 minutes old at this point, and I'd definitely be able to shoot a match with this. Ergonomically, not the most comfortable with this cheek the way that it is. I would need to build that up. It's a very small bolt knob too. Starting to get a little bit of neck fatigue. And a 5. So guys, I am impressed. But I've always said, even though I had something like this, and it's good enough to shoot a match with right now, I would want to test it at 100 yards. And typically you want to see groups that can really hold about 1.25 inches at 100 yards with the 22. So let me go ahead and set up some 1-inch pasties. And as long as we can be nicking those corners and keeping all the rounds inside, we should be okay. We do have a slight breeze today. It's probably about 2 miles an hour, but not much. And I'm kind of covered right here. So let me go ahead and pan down range so you can see we are at that true 50 yards. So coming from here, we have the target at our 50-yard location, which is that white target board there. The 100 is the one that's far back into the woods. All right, so I've mentioned it before, we should be able to keep 10 shots. If you're really wanting a full-on competition rifle, you should be able to keep 10 shots pretty close to 1 inch at 100 yards. Technically, my target is 104 yards away, so if we go a little bit outside of that orange, I think it's still acceptable, but as long as we can basically hold that orange, we'll be all right. Now, remember, I have no dope on this whatsoever. I do know that most setups are going to be about 1.9 mils at 100 yards. So remember, we're looking for group size here. And we'll try my best to keep in the orange, but no guarantee on that. So, all right. Let's see what we can do. So just high. I'm not going to change it. That way we can measure group size. A little bit of breeze. That was me. All right, so that was 8 or 9 shots. I'm not sure. I need to make sure I count. I'm going to move over to the next one. You can see the vertical stringing, and I think that's because of me being on this cheek riser the way that I am. But this rifle is definitely good enough to shoot a match with. I'm really not going to change much on it. I might try to shoot a couple matches with it this year. I am going to hit some more 22 rimfire matches this year, but I want to be a little more selective on the ones that I choose and hopefully not get burned out. It's really easy to get burned out doing too much. So I believe that's 10 rounds. It's hard to find this mag well. It is a disadvantage, but let's go ahead and move over to the number 2 dot off to the right. Number 2 dot off to the right. Everything looks to be holding pretty good. Only had one out of that group, and like I said, that could have been me. Could have been the ammo. Good way to start. Whoa, just nicked it. Ooh, flyer on that one. That's going to definitely be ammo. I'm losing my pasty. That's it, guys. 10 shots. What do you think? All right, so as I've stated many times before, your rifle is only going to be as good as the ammunition lot that you've tuned it for or tested it for. I did get lucky with this lot, but this seems to be a good lot of 22 long rifle from Lapua Center X. You guys know I shoot a lot of Lapua Center X, and I also shoot a lot of Ely 10X, but I do know that these prefer the SK and the Lapua more than anything else. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that rimfire content. I had a lot of comments about getting back into the rimfire content, and I think this was a good way to segue into it and show you this beautiful, beautiful rifle with just that classic look. It would be really hard for me to shoot this off barricades just because that bottom is just so beautiful with that stippling, but it is one that I wanted to have in my collection, and I hope you guys enjoyed that review. It is a shooter, no doubt about it. So if you're looking to get into rimfire 22, I think this is a great place to start. I am going to start playing around with some kid 1022s. I actually have one that a really good friend of mine said he would allow me to use. He's got a couple of them actually, and he says they shoot really, really tight as well. Don't know if that's something I would want to do for PRS rimfire, because you typically never see semi-autos in an NRL 22X or a rimfire match, but I guess they can have their place. All right, I hope you guys have a great week and a happy new year as well. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.